Welcome to Tri-City Community Television. We're in beautiful Port Coquitlam, Lee Square. My name is Mandara Lebovitz. I want to welcome my guests. We've got Tiffany and Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So you guys are from Mecca Panda Publishing. Tell me about what it is you exactly offer with your publishing company.
Okay, so with Mecca Panda Publishing, we focus primarily on science fiction, both in print and ebook.
Why science fiction?
I just love science fiction. I grew up with absolutely everything from Lost in Space to Star Trek to Star Wars eventually.
Currently, we have out Violent Skies by T.J. Lockwood, available both online with ebooks, but then also in bookstores at Western Sky here in Port Coquitlam and at Chapters just over in Coquitlam.
Excellent. That's amazing that you're in Chapters. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we've got the author here today. This is TJ, aka Tiffany.
Absolutely.
Yes. The book cover is gorgeous, and I'd like to get into speaking more about the actual characters in the book. But just to mention to the audience, so you're in charge of the marketing aspect, and I just have to ask, so Meca, so how did this name come about, Mecca Panda Publishing?
So it's an interesting story. It was a conversation between Tiffany, myself, and another friend of ours when we were all out for sushi. Tiffany had the idea that maybe we should form a publishing company.
Some kind of company at the time.
Because being the writer, you needed, to get your voice
Yeah,
up.
just some kind of publishing imprint.
We were talking about what we should name this fictional company, and she was like, well, it has to be exciting,
Something science
and
fiction-like, right?
memorable, and like tough, like it's got to be Mecha something. And I'm quite fond of pandas, so I was like, oh, it needs to be.
I think your words were tough but cute.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, panda's tough. Okay, cute, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being that it's called Mecca Panda Publishing, we needed to establish some form of character there that we can brand
So the
with.
strength, the idea of the
Absolutely.
strength comes back
Right,
into it.
and
Yeah,
so we
no,
named
it's beautiful.
Pondo the Panda.
I have a marketing background, so I pay attention to that stuff, and I think it's really well done. So who hosts the podcast?
I do, and then two others with me.
And who are the other two or the other people involved in Mecca Publishing?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a voice actor named Stevens. He's also very hands-on with audio. He went to school at VCC, I think it was, and Vancouver Film School, perhaps, right? And he does that. And then we have another writer and just a funny guy named John, and he just brings a little bit of the comedy to it.
And you met each other, I believe, in high school, right?
Actually, Steve and I met from a former job.
Okay.
Right, and
the
John I
two
met
of you.
through Amanda.
Yeah, and you said Riverside, so you're locals.
Yes.
Yeah, so we both went to Riverside Secondary.
And everything you do is run online, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can get your books. You are publishing, you also on Kindle, I believe it's available, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the character in this book.
So yes, the main character's name is Wallflower. The whole thing was just a fun little exercise. I used to work a retail job, and I was really bored at the time. So what's the most outlandish character name I could make? That's what it was.
You mentioned on your website again saying that there's a touch of romance in your so is this a romance as well, a sci-fi romance?
It's a complicated romance, very complicated. It's not at the forefront though, because I personally don't read a lot of romance. But I like subgenres and subplots to add dimension to the story, so that's why it's there.
Great. And you have some upcoming release. This was released recently.
This edition came out in February, and our next one is Urban Heroes, and that one will be releasing on June 14th.
And are you the author of Urban Heroes?
I am, yes.
Okay. And so you want other authors to actually come and publish with you. What information do they need to know? How can they get in touch with you? What's the process like for them?
I guess right now it would be to take a look at our website to see if they would have a good fit, and then reach out to myself or Tiffany just to start a conversation to see what they're looking for and what we can help them with. We've got a little bit of a different model than your traditional publishing company, so it would definitely be, they would have to do kind of a bit more work than they would with a traditional contract, but we're definitely open for discussions, or even if just anyone has any questions about publishing, because I know we've learned a lot in the past 6-7
So you're
months.
offering them help with editing and publishing, or do they need to do all their editing separately? Like, do you
So we contract out our editing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so that's that's a conversation. We can go through the list of people that we trust to do a good job and provide quality work, and we can provide that to people as well.
So what makes you guys a little bit unique then? You're saying it's a little bit, or is there a unique element?
It's a hybrid model between traditional and indie publishing. So there's two different scales in the marketplace, and I just think that with the way that the publishing industry is going right now, people are edging a little bit away from that traditional publishing Big Six model, and then moving towards the indie publishing market. But we want to provide that middle ground so that people aren't afraid to jump in and try.
So who's your audience then? Who, with whomever you're going to publish your books and future authors, who is your audience that you're reaching out to exactly?
So right now our main audience is North America, so both Canada and the United States.
Is there an age group? Or any
Kind of
demographic?
like that 14 to 35, so kind of it does
Men and
range.
women, boys and
yeah,
girls.
both genders, so that new adult, young adult, but then even my grandmother is 86 and read this book and loved it.
Right.
So
it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any advice you want to give any new entrepreneurs, creative-minded people such as yourself, newly out of high school? I know you've been doing this for a couple years now, but do you have any advice for them to, it's not easy being a creative-minded person to take the risk that you guys have taken to go out and actually create your own business, let alone an online business. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Well, from a creative standpoint, I say is to build your network. That's the biggest thing, is find the people and put yourself around them where they can help you succeed in those little ways. And I'm a little old school. I think that personal connections are good too, not just online. Right? We have to remember that our interpersonal skills and connections can help just as much as our online
being in the
reach.
Tri-Cities, I know, having worked in different businesses and for organizations, you know that if you get out to different events and you work with the chamber, you work with arts groups, community groups like Tri-City Community Television, you get your word out there and just network for sure. Small town is always great for that. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today about your business?
I guess the big thing is, so the new book is coming out June 14th, and we're going to be celebrating with a launch over at Western Sky Books in Port Coquitlam. So it'll start at 7 o'clock, and there will be a reading from the new book, as well as some snacks and discussion and signed books for sale.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being here today.
Hi, my name is TJ Lockwood, and this is my novel, Violent Skies. It's a science fiction story about how mankind has dealt with overpopulation, and uses a lot of settings from local venues around here in the Lower Mainland. So I'm going to read to you the first chapter. It's also available at Western Skies Books and Chapters at Pine Tree here. The rain is like sky blood. Some kid told me about while we were making our way through Utah. Poor thing looked like he'd been alone for a long time. But then again, that's where we all are now. Outside of the big cities, there's only a handful of us brave enough to dare the mutated wasteland this planet has become. They say we're the unlucky ones. By they, I mean those still living in the pre-war cities. Cities which have been sheltered from the aftermath of mankind's last squabble. But they weren't the rich ones or the gifted ones. They were just people who prepared for the worst. They were the people who lived and breathed paranoia. It's a shame, really. We all have to start again every time a couple of countries think it's acceptable to pull the trigger on something or someone. The pre-war cities are like tombs, and their inhabitants are guards. We should head west, you know. It's safer out that way. A strong yet fragile hand grips my shoulder. A man in his late 30s, at least that's what he claims, stands beside me. His name is Jace. He sees the same stuff I do. I'm sure of it. One doesn't walk across the old highways without seeing a little bit of everything, or rather, a little bit of how everything used to be. So that's Violent Skies. You can find it at Western Sky Books or over at the Pine Tree Chapters there. A little bit of YA, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of a genre mashup. So if you like crossing genres, then this is for you.